Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the main roster here on the Jez Show on Twitch. It's a crazy, crazy afternoon where nothing is working and Jez is already getting annoyed. Annoyed, I say, because we're a family-friendly podcast. I have other words, but they will stay up here, at least for the time being.
Yes.
I'm Jez. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Dan down there. How's it going, Dan?
I'm good. Apart from getting annoyed, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty well, actually. The sun is shining. Spring is on its way. I'm in my shorts, which is always wonderful. I love shorts.
My goodness.
And at least for the next 9 months, I'm still the champ.
Yes.
Dan's cam is looking good. Well, that must be the sunshine. That natural light peeking through the blinds.
Peeking through. Oh, yes.
Yeah, because sometimes when it's a bit dark, like the webcam on your antique machine can be a bit grainy, can't it? But but it's looking good today. You'll just have to order more sun for forever and ever.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah, put your order in now. Maybe at least we'll get it once every... probably once a year, knowing our luck.
Maybe this time next year.
Yeah. But don't ask, don't get, is basically what I'm saying. Put your order in. You might get lucky. Shorts, says Dave Dog. Yeah, shorts.
Yeah,
shorts.
Is that weird?
I like shorts. Being that this is a wrestling podcast, people might understand when I say my brand of shorts are like John Cena style cargo jorts type things. Like knee length. Not quite as long as John Cena, but the kind of bagginess, the same kind of thing.
Yeah. I get you.
I'm going to have to show people my shorts now, aren't I? This is
yes, actually, you are. Stand up.
Okay. There you go. Shorts.
Lovely. And the knees.
There you go. Shorts. Are we happy now?
Very.
Anyone listening to this in audio form is like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I can't see
What's going on?
How am I supposed to see your shorts, you crazy lunatic? But everyone else did. Shorts.
Yep. Shorts.
So that about covers everything here on the shorts roster. Shall we crack into the main roster and see what happened in the world of WWE over the last week?
Let's dive straight in, shall we? So, SmackDown opened last Friday night with the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Reigns showed footage of Daniel Bryan's Elimination Chamber victory and the subsequent defeat of Bryan to retain his title. He went on to say that this victory was nearly perfect and only wasn't due to the intervention of Edge. Roman suggested Edge has made a mistake in selecting him for WrestleMania and offered him a chance to back out, adding, "A man like you just doesn't stand a chance against a man like me." Daniel Bryan made his way to the ring to question the nearly perfect victory, stating that he had used the cheap way to defend his title in having the title defense immediately after the chamber match. Bryan challenged Reigns at Fastlane, offering the champion the opportunity to show he can be a champion without precondition. I can't speak.
Preconditions.
That's the one. And special stipulations. Before Reigns gave his answer, Jey Uso jumped Bryan and left him laying at ringside. Backstage, Edge confronted Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, questioning why Bryan should get a title match before he does when they were supposed to be competing in a tag match at Fastlane, Edge and Bryan versus Reigns and Uso. Pearce declared that Bryan would face Uso later in the night and that if Bryan won, the Universal Championship match would be on at Fastlane because, with no disrespect to Edge, a Universal title match is a bigger attraction.
Indeed, and more on that Bray and Uso match later in the show. But as far as openings to SmackDown go, that was a pretty good one, I thought.
Yeah, I dug it.
I think Roman Reigns
No?
has kicked off SmackDown in a kind of talky thing for a good 3, maybe even a month, 3 weeks, month now. And I'm not mad at it.
Like that.
He tends to come out, like, say
on.
something that annoys somebody, and then the rest of SmackDown is spent playing that out, and we get the payoff in the main event. And I'm okay with that. It keeps people interested, keeps them watching the show.
Yeah.
We
see what happens.
We heard last week, obviously, that Edge was going to face Reigns at WrestleMania. And the prospect of a Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan championship match at Fastlane between now and then, what do you think of that?
I'm not complaining about it. I think it'll be quite good, you know.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan's not going to win.
This is my problem with it. I like the idea on paper, but we're never going to be changing the main event of WrestleMania from Roman Reigns versus Edge to Daniel Bryan versus Edge. Like, as much as that would be a better match, and you know, people who like wrestling would enjoy that more, I expect. Yeah, you know, Vince McMahon and his boner for big guys are not going to change that match. So we would be going straight into Fastlane, already knowing the outcome of that match.
Yes.
So, is it really worth it?
No.
Maybe not. Maybe not. The idea of the Edge and Daniel Bryan against Reigns and Uso tag team match suddenly becomes more interesting somehow, because anyone can win that. We see Edge in the ring a bit more. So maybe I prefer that. So, you know, here's hoping as we blast through to the end of the night that Daniel Bryan doesn't win and we can have our tag team match instead.
Yes. Indeed.
Edge face Reigns at WrestleMania ensures 2 more months of my WWE Network subscription. There you go. Yeah. Well, spoken like a true customer. Like, Edge facing Reigns at WrestleMania means at least one more person keeping their subscription to the network.
Yes.
And probably a lot more than one as well. Last thing to discuss from this segment. In the talky bit where Edge kind of went backstage and said, "Hey, Adam and Sonya, what the hell? I thought we were having a tag team match." And then Adam Pearce drops, no disrespect intended. And Edge just kind of repeats, "No disrespect intended," and then just kind of walks off as if he's like, right, disrespect I feel, havoc I shall cause. Do you think this is going to go anywhere? Do you think that maybe we end up, instead of this tag team match, it becomes a real derailment of this match and a massive distraction, and we get Edge versus Daniel Bryan at Fastlane just because?
Yeah, maybe. I've never thought of that, but that would be cool. I'd like to see that, you know.
Yeah. And again, you come into the problem of...
I don't think it's going anywhere.
They've got to find a way to make this entertaining between now and WrestleMania, let alone now and Fastlane. So maybe giving Edge another feud, something as a roadblock in the interim, is a good idea. But it suffers the same problem of... We're not going to change the WrestleMania main event now, so you couldn't say, okay, Daniel Bryan versus Edge at Fastlane, and the winner goes on to face Roman Reigns, because you're not going to change it to Reigns and Bryan at this stage. But you could set the stipulation of, if Daniel Bryan defeats Edge, he gets added to the match.
Triple threat.
Yeah, or you could, if you didn't want to do that, if you were really dead set on not changing the main event of WrestleMania, and you wanted to actually make this match mean something and not be completely inevitable, you could just say first SmackDown after WrestleMania, you have to defend your title straight away. If Daniel Bryan beats you, the winner of the championship match at WrestleMania defends immediately on SmackDown following. No rest for for the wicked, or whatever that phrase is.
Either way, I would be cool.
I would as well. And as we're ticking down the time that Edge has left, he's got to face Daniel Bryan at some point. Like, we need to see that. So
Yeah.
Maybe Fastlane is that opportunity.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't result in Edge getting injured.
Yeah.
That would sure mess things up for all involved.
Yeah. That'd be awkward.
It would be. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Shall we progress with SmackDown?
Let's progress.
So the first match on SmackDown was a tag team match with Ray and Dominic Mysterio taking on the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis. Last week, Otis turned his team heel when he took things too far against Mysterio, attacking him beyond a disqualification loss and leaving him laying in the ring. In this match, Otis began to show more aggression and his more aggressive side as the pair made a point of targeting Ray throughout the match. Otis cemented a dominant victory for the Academy with a big splash from the middle rope.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about this last week, but Otis heel turn.
Yes. Interesting.
It's something, all right.
Yeah.
Just as the guy was starting to pick up, some real momentum as a babyface and starting to get that sympathetic, and even the blue collar kind of vote that they'd been looking for the entire time. So no, let's turn him heel and just make him another generic big guy heel.
Yeah. Generic big guy jobber sort of thing.
Do you think that people in production are just sat there going, we probably shouldn't have bothered breaking up Heavy Machinery?
Yeah, because now Tucker's like
nothing.
Somewhere.
He wasn't even a lumberjack on Raw last night. That's how far that guy's fallen. If you don't get to be a lumberjack in a lumberjack match, then you're nothing. You are absolutely nothing anymore.
Yeah, you are nothing if you're not a lumberjack.
We even
usually that's all the 24/7 title guys, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we even saw Pretty Boy Humberto Carrillo in as a lumberjack. It's like, well, there's that guy. He's still employed.
Is that guy,
But Tucker apparently is so far down the pecking order, he doesn't even to show his face on television in a lumberjack match.
No, he's not even a lumberjack. That says it all.
So we've gone from this being like the hottest. This time last year, this was the hottest tag team in WWE, I would argue. They were on path to becoming tag team champions, having good feuds with people, and then all of a sudden, they start this relationship with Mandy Rose story. That goes for a while. That gets derailed because Sonya Deville gets stalked, and they have to cut that short because things get weird there.
Yeah.
They give Otis Money in the Bank, and we're like, okay, well, Otis is going to have a babyface singles run. Why not? I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward.
I was so down for it.
Fast forward to February, March 2021, and Otis is nothing, nowhere. He's just turned heel, but it's not going to go anywhere, I don't think. Nana Kay, Raid of One.
I don't think so.
It's interesting that Nana Kay joined her this time because she was a big Otis fan as a babyface. She was really starting to enjoy his shtick. Otis was Nana Kay's favourite wrestler as she, dipped in and out of being in the room as I watched.
He's a bad guy now, though.
He's a bad guy now, yeah, and Nana Kay is one of the biggest marks going, so she ain't cheering for the heels. He's dead to her now.
Otis is gone. Oh dear.
But anything else to add to this tag team match? The Mysterios are just, job of fodder now. Yeah. Even as a casual viewer, this makes no sense to me. No, I mean the problem was, in the way that Vince McMahon does, he has a raging hard on for the big guy, and then all of a sudden he loses interest, and then plans change. They just flip flop around, and it completely ruins the person to the point that they're never going to come back again. It's it's happened with Keith Lee on Raw as well.
Yeah.
Like It's like Vince McMahon is sat there going, "Oh yeah, it's a big guy. I like the big guy," and then he realizes that that guy is carrying a bit of weight, and all of a sudden he's like, "No, I want big guy, but muscle bound big guy," and then everyone else just gets pushed to the side. He goes through senile moments, I guess, but Otis is a definite casualty of that. He doesn't do anything as a heel. We'll see where it goes, but I think he'll be back off television by after WrestleMania
next week.
Yeah, after they're done with this Mysterio thing, which is probably now, because Otis did beat Mysterio clean and dominantly. There's nowhere to go with that story, so onwards they go to Street Profits. Maybe
nowhere.
Who are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions? The Dirty Dogs are SmackDown Tag Team Champions, so they're not going there.
Oh yeah, them.
So I guess on to the Street Profits, who will kind of put them down, and that'll be that. What a waste! Bring back Funhouse Vince.
What a waste!
Damn it! This is such good.
Beep. Anyway,
but we've got through the what the hell was that moment of SmackDown in my book.
Yes.
The match that happened.
Yeah.
And we can move on to something that is really juicy and exciting as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. So the next match was to see Apollo Crews take on Shinsuke Nakamura in a rematch from last week. Last week, following Crews' loss to Shinsuke Nakamura, Apollo attacked Big E, who had been providing commentary at ringside, and put him out of action with targeting attacks with the steel steps. Before the match, Crews took to the mic to explain his actions over the previous weeks and how now he would act more in line with his roots, that he is descended from Nigerian royalty that ruled with their wealth, dominance and power. Going forward, he would live by his grandfather's mantra, "If enemies defy you, show them the steel." As Nakamura made his entrance, Crews jumped him, weakening him for their match. In a turnaround from the previous week, Apollo Crews was able to pick up a huge victory over former WWE Intercontinental Champ, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Did Shinsuke not win the belt? I thought he did.
No. He had the title match against AJ Styles, and then he did the low blow thing when he lost.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking NXT champion, aren't they? That's what I'm thinking.
That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, good job correcting me on the fly. Well done. I applaud. But, either way, from a guy who was doing quite well on Raw for a while and then came to SmackDown and has been jobbing ever since, this is a big turnaround, big change, big victory over Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically gone back to his gimmick that he had on the Indies. When he was Uhaa Nation. That was his name.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name, but yes.
And I think it's quite good to go to it because it's unique. I think he does actually legitimately have royalty in his ancestry. So,
does he?
So that's quite cool. I mean, let's look him up. Let's do a bit of Wikipedia while we're here to make sure I'm not talking
Wikipediaing.
Absolute nonsense.
So you're not talking rubbish.
Let's have a look. Maybe not. Okay, so in high school, he was given the nickname Uhaa Nation when his coach noted that he was as strong as a single nation.
Okay.
His name is, and you may have to forgive the pronunciation, Cesar Uhaa. So Uhaa is his last name.
Oh, okay.
And so he was nicknamed Uhaa Nation because he's as strong as a nation. And okay, yeah, I can see that. He's a big old dude.
He's a big dude.
Good after-race. We're just doing some Wikipediaing about a wrestler just to make sure we're.
This is a new Wikipedia show.
It doesn't say anything about his
And being
his,
from royalty.
No. Uha is of Nigerian descent. His father originally from Vandikaya local government area of Benue State in the Mid-Belt region of Nigeria. It's very specific. His mother is also from Benue State, Nigeria. He has a sister who was in the US Army stationed in San Antonio. So, Nigerian, yes. Royalty, perhaps not.
Yeah. Still a good gimmick, though.
Yeah, and the line that I really, really liked about it was because it's a great way of really like polarizing yourself against everyone. He said, "I am a real African American," which is just a great way to trigger everyone. Because it's like, white people aren't going to like you because you've turned heel. That's a basic thing there. But it doesn't matter a lot of the time what you do if you are a minority and a wrestler, because you will always be backed by your fellow minority, if that makes sense. And so it's like, right, I've got to do something to really piss off all my fellow black people. What can I say? I will say I am a real African American, and you're you with your born in America, run of the mill African Americanness are below me. Just a great way of
how to piss people off.
Yeah, like, I mean, I could probably write a book in how to piss people off, and this would be one of the chapters now, because it's fantastic.
I think you should write that book, because I think actually you would sell quite well.
Yeah, you've from not the author who brought you How to Win Friends and Influence People, how to lose friends and piss people off.
There we go.
I'll start a draft. You can proofread it for me.
Okay, I will.
Give him Hogan music, says Matt. I am a real African American. Fight for the rights of no man. I am a real African American. Fight for myself. Hit you with steps. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, it writes itself.
It writes itself.
So, Happy Jez enjoys Apollo Crews as a heel. I kind of want him to change his name now.
Yeah, something.
I mean, keep his surname and just rename him Apollo Uha. Or Uha Apollo. Yeah, just throw that in there. Because it's like it. I don't know whether it's a unique Nigerian name. It could be Dave or Steve. But as far as America is concerned and the Western world, it's a very unique name. Whereas Cruz, it's like, no, you've just found one of the most popular black people in the country in Terry Crews and adopted his name. That's what you've done there. There wasn't much thinking involved. It's just that's what you've done. So, if we're going down that unique route, let's bring his uniqueness to the table and change his name. The Apollo bit's fine.
Yeah.
But Cruz, it's like, you know what you were doing.
Yeah. I think they need to change his music as well if they're going to do that.
I really like that music. It made sense when he was a babyface on Raw last year to change to that music, but it's a little bit too happy-go-lucky for his new ruthless Nigerian prince.
Yeah.
Like better than you gimmick.
Yeah.
He needs something a bit more kind of regal yet foreboding.
Yeah.
Get to work, Jim Johnson.
I always blank out on it, and doesn't it start with him just shouting Apollo?
Apollo! Do 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 do.
You're all about the music today.
Yeah. I'm in a good mood.
Well, hey, let's see if you continue that good mood.
Doesn't happen that often, you know.
No.
Not when we're talking about the current state of WWE, at least. Like,
Yes.
before and after, sure, I can be in a good mood. I'm not normally in a good mood talking about WWE anymore because
they
drive me insane. But you know, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. SmackDown was good. Raw was good.
Yep.
It's been a while.
Been a while.
Pew!
Twat my mic.
Captain Twat your mic. Yeah. So let's see if we can maintain my good mood in the next segment. And it was decision time as Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville gathered in the ring to hear who the Women's Royal Rumble winner Bianca Belair had decided to challenge at WrestleMania. Would it be Raw Women's Champion Asuka or SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks? Bianca explained how her decision had been influenced by her mother, and that is why she would be interrupted by Reginald, obviously. Reginald made a last-minute pitch to dissuade Belair from challenging Sasha Banks at WrestleMania, but as Sasha came out to brag, this persuaded Belair that she should face Banks at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It is decided.
It is decided. Finally.
Not that you or I, or probably 96% of the right-thinking wrestling world, believed that she was going to face anyone other than Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
And as a result, there's not a whole lot to discuss about it. It's like,
no.
Well done. The correct decision has been made. On with the business, I suppose.
Okay.
I suppose the only thing to discuss is what's happening with this Reginald thing.
Yeah, I was thinking that, and it's like, yeah. I don't know. Is he going to backstab Carmella in some way? And then hopelessly go after Sasha Banks?
Are we really going to get Carmella back involved in this situation?
Only if they know how to iron the sheet.
Yeah, if they don't iron that sheet, I'm going to be flipping tables. But I don't see why we can't just move Carmella on to somebody else. Like, I don't not want to see Carmella on television. Like, you know, it's fine. Her new gimmick's fine. She's getting better in the ring. You know, week on week, month on month, year on year. But we've done that. You going for the women's title. Let's move on to someone else, and either split up from this sommelier or take him with you.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea that he's, you know, kind of semi-fallen in love with Sasha Banks after, you know, she annihilated him every couple of weeks. But
yeah,
how is it going to play into this situation? Unless they're gonna, at the moment we've got a face versus face situation. Do they turn Sasha Banks heel by, you know, her really embracing this help from Reginald and using him to target Belair over the next couple of weeks? It's got to go somewhere, and I don't think Reginald is with Carmella anymore. I think that's just a thing that they're gonna brush under the rug.
I think Reginald, well, he had his own entrance screen.
Yeah, he had his own screen.
Yeah, he didn't have the music. He had his own like screen that said Reginald. So.
Yeah, and I think the music was just a later part of the slower bit of Carmella's song. But
yeah,
I can't sing that bit. Sorry, I don't know it.
Oh,
I haven't heard it enough.
Sing Sasha Banks's.
No, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, Bianca and Sasha at WrestleMania. Let's bring that on. That'll be a fantastic wrestling match. Very little else to say about it. Before we move on, Matt, stay tuned. Yes, now carry
on. Next up, the team of Sami Zayn and King Corbin took on the Street Profits. The match was set up by Sami, who wanted to form a connection with Corbin. This team may be a short-lived one, though, as Corbin took exception to being filmed by Zayn's documentary crew, which caused a distraction that set up the Street Profits for the win. Yeah.
Okay, so I was wrong. The Otis thing wasn't the only match that happened on the show. There was this as well.
Was this?
Were you able to discern any potential purpose for this?
No.
Oh, that makes two of us.
Yeah.
We're not heading towards Sami Zayn versus King Corbin at WrestleMania in your book?
No.
Win for the Street Profits? Is that a good enough reason to do this?
No.
No. Not much point to this, was there?
No.
Just like, we need to fill 10 minutes. What do we do? You and you tag team match. Go.
Go. Street Profits. Go.
Just seems what this is like.
Yeah.
What they could have done is just not done this and given an extra couple of minutes to the next segment, which was good. Because the budding rivalry between Seth Rollins and Cesaro intensified on SmackDown after Rollins once again took to the mic to talk down the Swiss cyborg. This, of course, brought out Cesaro, which changed the tune of the Messiah slightly, and he then began to praise Cesaro before asking him what it was that was stopping him going to the next level. Just what is Cesaro missing? Rollins posited that it was killer instinct, and that he could start over right now and embrace the vision. Cesaro declined the offer in the most unique way possible, locking Rollins into one of the longest big swings of all time, and punctuating it with a extremely stiff European uppercut before booking and getting out of there. Did you enjoy this?
Yeah. I'm quite liking this Cesaro Seth Rollins thing that's going on. I mean, we haven't seen them properly fight as of yet, like a proper match. But the way it's going, I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah, I think we could end up having a kind of best of three situation here, with the first match being at Fastlane, and then a rematch possibly on the SmackDown straight after, or a SmackDown subsequent, and then the kind of decider at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I'll be down with that.
They probably won't, call it a best of three, but that's what it'll end up as.
That's what will happen.
Rollins cheated to win. Cesaro got a good victory, and now, the feud culminates at WrestleMania.
Find out. Yes.
And I hope they give them a good chunk of time to work with, because these are two of the best wrestlers technically on the roster. Give them some time to shine.
Yeah.
And
go on.
I think now the research begins into, have these guys faced before in the past? And if they have,
that's a good question.
Then we throw that out as a retro roster. So my two kind of candidates, and the second of which is less certain for me. The first, Ring of Honor. I'm sure they must have faced in Ring of Honor at some point. Or did they somehow just about cross paths in NXT? Right at the beginning of the new NXT, when Rollins was NXT champion, over into Cesaro coming back down to NXT, and I know he worked with Tyson Kidd at first, so they may have been two ships that passed in the night, and it never happened. But worth looking back at that era and seeing if there's anything there, even if it was just on an episode of NXT. See what they can do. Compare that now to then. We'll have a look. But I'm excited for this match whenever it happens.
Whenever it happens.
Whether we get one, whether we get three, Let's have a few. Let's do it.
Yes. Yes.
And now, it's the moment we have been waiting for the entire night of SmackDown. It's time for the main event.
Yeah, the main event of SmackDown was the previously advertised match between Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan. Were Daniel Bryan to win, he would face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at Fastlane. The stream came to a halt fairly quickly, though, as Uso used cheap tactics to keep Bryan out of the ring and get the pair counted out. After the match, Uso continued to attack Bryan and was joined by Reigns, who aided in the beatdown. Daniel Bryan found himself locked in the guillotine and passed out as SmackDown went off the air. Yeah.
So, following on from what we said earlier, no championship match.
No.
That's not happening, apparently. I mean, it was a double count out, so he may get another opportunity. But all signs point to no. And the other telling thing for me, Edge did not come to Daniel Bryan's assistance.
Yes.
Could that potentially fuel a feud, which is pretty difficult to say, going forward into Fastlane? Will it fuel the feud for Fastlane to really go all in on alliteration?
I'll say that faster.
No, thank you. I'm good. I want it. Now that,
I want it as well.
I wasn't even thinking this when I watched SmackDown, but now with time to think about it and analyse it, this is what I want. I want Daniel Bryan and Edge at Fastlane.
I would love it. I would love it.
I want that more than I would want Daniel Bryan getting another title shot, because he's lost.
Yeah,
Deal
I'd
with it.
rather that.
Move on.
Yeah, I'd rather Edge versus Daniel Bryan than Daniel Bryan for some reason getting the title shot anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just more scope to do things. And I like that. There we go.
Absolutely.
So, slightly anticlimactic end to SmackDown, but, with the build, and it ended in Roman Reigns standing dominant, as I've come to enjoy, so it's not all bad. Overall, a pretty good SmackDown.
Yeah.
Now, I understand, before we move on to Raw, that you have a little bit of news, and we've got some discussion to do. So shall I push the button and take us into Dan's dirt sheet?
Push the button.
Push the button.
Dirty.
I never get told that.
Especially now you can hear it.
Yes.
Right, what have you got for us, Daniel?
So, as Matt has already stated in the chat, that Paul White, aka The Big Show, has signed with AEW.
Now, you broke this news to me last week. You sent me that in Messenger, and I promptly and messagely, if that's a word, kind of groaned and simultaneously went in text form.
Yes, basically.
Why has Paul White, Big Show, signed with AEW? How old is the guy now?
I don't know, 2000?
He's got to be in his 50s. How old is Paul White? He's 49.
Okay, so he's an old man.
Yeah. He's younger than Undertaker.
Yeah.
But he's still, still in advancing age.
Old.
Now, apparently, so I've learned since, he is primarily signing on to do commentary for AEW.
Yes.
So it becomes slightly more palatable as a result.
Yep.
But you just know that that's not going to last very long, because let's look at Taz. Taz signed on as a commentator, and he is now managing a stable.
Yeah.
So
I can see Paul White, Big Show, whatever they're going to call him, doing maybe a little bit of ring work.
I expect so. Yeah. And okay, I'm just going to come out and say it. Are we at the point now where AEW has become the old guy place that WCW was? Have they gone full WCW and they're just signing all the old guys and really not focusing on their younger talent to the detriment of the entire roster?
Yeah.
Because now you've got
basically,
you've got Big Show, you've got Sting in there. There are other legends that are just managing, like Taz and Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. But I know a lot of those don't wrestle, but there's something about filling your show with elders, shall we say, that even if you have a young talent base actually doing the wrestling, you just watch it and you get the impression that everyone here is pretty old. And it's not even a deliberate thing. It's just noticing the average age in this room is about 45, 50, which it's not really conducive to a fast-paced 21st century even professional wrestling roster. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched AEW in quite some time. This does.
No, I haven't either.
Does not entice me in any way to tune in. Like, man, Paul White's going. Better tune in next week.
Well, somebody said they're mostly doing it because they're having Shaquille O'Neal come in and do some wrestling for some reason. So they're probably going to have Big Show, Paul White, go up against him, aren't they?
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, because they didn't actually pay that off when they brought Shaq in to WWE a few years ago, did they? They teased it, and then it never happened because Shaq was still playing basketball and could not risk getting injured in the ring.
Yeah.
Now everyone's retired, everyone's doing punditry, so it can be
everyone's old.
The NBA on TNT's best, Shaquille O'Neal, against AEW Dark's best, Paul White.
Yeah, great. Imagine if Paul White wins the AEW World Championship.
Oh God, don't. Who is the champion? Is it still Kenny Omega?
It's still Kenny Omega, I think.
That's all right then.
But somebody did put on Facebook saying that if Paul White did win the AEW World Championship, he would be the only person to have won the AEW World Championship, the WWE World Championship, the WCW World Championship, and the ECW World Championship.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that. The only other person that could do it. Oh no, he was never WCW. Never mind. I won't say it. Yeah. I mean, Paul White is well travelled, but all I can think from this is you are moving out of a wrestling role. Why would you shoot in the foot every opportunity to work with the kind of film and television arm of WWE? Why would you do that to yourself? It just doesn't make any sense. So unless something has been done to Paul White that we don't know about that has really soured him towards Vince and the WWE in general, why would you sabotage yourself in that way? You are not going to gain anything in this next stage of your career by spurning the main group of people that are not only doing the wrestling thing, but they're making movies and they're making TV series. I don't think that Big Show sitcom that was on Netflix. I don't think that happens without WWE. I'm sure they've
Oh,
got a
God,
hand
no.
in that. So that might be cancelled immediately. Like, not working with this guy anymore. Forget it.
Yeah. We're gone.
So yeah, not the wisest of moves in my
No.
humble estimation. But
Don't
at the
bite
same
the
time,
hand that feeds you.
it doesn't really affect me. I don't watch the product that he's moved to. So, and if it means he's not on WWE anymore, that's only a good thing as well.
Okay.
No big loss there. Does that conclude your dirty sheets for the week?
Yes, well, there is one other thing. So I don't know if you saw can't remember which company do it. They do like a big poll of best wrestler of the year and best.
Yeah, it was.
They've announced everything.
Wrestling Observer.
Yes, and I can't remember all of them. All I remember is that AEW was voted the best wrestling show of the year, and WWE was voted the worst wrestling show of the year. What a surprise. The best gimmick, I cannot remember. I think it was the Young Bucks.
Yeah. We saw this independently. We haven't spoken about this, but I know where you're going, and I'm not happy about it.
But the worst wrestling gimmick. Do you want to have a guess at what they voted the worst wrestling gimmick is?
I don't need to guess. I know. I saw it.
You know it. It is The Fiend. What the hell?
I'm just scrolling up to find the information, because that wasn't the only time that they absolutely ragged on The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Mike Rotunda, whatever you want to call him. So yeah, they gave him the worst gimmick of the year, which is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. They also gave him most overrated wrestler of the year.
Yeah.
They really went to town on him. Like, every negative thing that they could find, they gave it to him. Worst feud of the year, Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman. Worst match of the year, Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman in the Wyatt Swamp fight. And then worst gimmick of the year, The Fiend.
Yeah.
Honestly,
what was the best gimmick? You got it there. What was the best gimmick?
The best gimmick. Hang on, my camera's frozen as well. I'll just fix that in a second. The best gimmick. Why can't I find it? Most improved. Oh, he also got most overrated wrestler of the year.
For God's sake.
Just to really combine it.
Add insult to injury.
The Fiend let me in, won't be happy to hear this. Yeah, that's Dan, by the way.
That's me.
Why can't I find it? Oh. Well, did you want to know the best gimmick of the year?
The best gimmick?
They reckon it was Orange Cassidy.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they don't. This list is just. I'm not down with it. It is utter garbage. Like, and obviously,
Orange Cassidy's gimmick is him standing there with his hands in his pockets.
Yeah, and I do like it.
That's it.
Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the Orange Cassidy. Like, as minimum effort as possible. I can't even be bothered to lift my thumb to give you a thumbs up. I wrestle with my hands in my pockets and just kind of flop around. Like, I enjoy that. It's unique and fun and entertaining. It isn't the gimmick of the year.
No.
Yeah, but basically, whoever contributed to this, and Wrestling Observer is a Dave Metzer thing, does not like Bray Wyatt at all, and was like, right, let's take this guy to task.
WWE.
No, well, we know he doesn't like WWE. He mostly gets excited about New Japan and all the quality stuff that they do that's more wrestling based. But I mean, if you can't compare them.
No.
You just can't compare them. And to give all of these accolades to AEW when they haven't really done that well either. It's been a pandemic year. Things have been, challenging, have been fraught. They have not been the same as normal circumstances.
Yeah.
I just think give people a break and leave Bray Wyatt alone. Basically.
Yeah.
I think he's done a fantastic
That's why I wanted to go out there.
Yeah. I think Bray Wyatt's done a fantastic job with what he's been given. And whether you like the Fiend or not, it's new, it's unique, it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more Alexa Bliss.
Always be chatting. I'm not a huge Fiend fan. I think the reason you don't like the Fiend is that you've only seen him on pay-per-view. There's a lot to be said about the development that the Fiend had on television. Pretty much on the pay-per-views, he's just rocked up, looked a bit freaky, twatted someone, and left again. There's not much to enjoy there, other than the entrance. But yeah, I love the Fiend. I think he's one of the best things going. I
love him
in professional wrestling right now. Certainly one of the most interesting, and certainly in WWE. Yeah. So screw you, Wrestling Observer. Lay off.
Anyway,
and I'll take a drink so that we can get started on Monday Night Raw. Shall we?
Yeah. Yes.
So Monday Night Raw began with a recap of last week's post-Elimination Chamber event, in which Bobby Lashley attempted to cash in, no pun intended, his promised opportunity for a WWE Championship match against The Miz, only for Miz to distance himself from his commitment. Lashley also saw his claim to the title challenged by Braun Strowman and had to keep him out of the match, defeating the Monster Among Men in last week's main event. This opening video package was followed by the first appearance of Drew McIntyre since losing his WWE Championship to The Miz at Elimination Chamber. McIntyre detailed the complicated 2021 he has had so far, including the betrayal from his best friend Sheamus, whom he would take on later on in the night, or he was scheduled to take on later on in the night. Before that, though, he was interrupted by The Miz, who tried to stir up the Scottish psychopath against Bobby Lashley for beating him down after the Elimination Chamber match. But the pleas of The Miz fell on deaf ears, and eventually Sheamus came out, prompting the start of the fight between the two Celtic superstars. And after the commercial break, the match was on, and it got officially underway. Eventually, Sheamus was defeated with the Claymore. And that was probably that for that feud.
Yeah, that's that done. Move on.
Right? Why did they try and start this thing with Sheamus when clearly the direction that they wanted to go in was something else? And or even if they are sticking with that and taking that to WrestleMania. Why is McIntyre beating him on Raw if you want to drag this out longer all the way to WrestleMania?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I mean, it's difficult to discuss fully without covering what happens later in the show, but I don't think Drew McIntyre is going in the championship direction for WrestleMania, shall we say?
Yeah.
And so does that leave him with Sheamus again, having already beaten him? Just seems like a waste.
Probably.
You could have had Sheamus beat Drew McIntyre and the feud continue. That would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because then McIntyre's got something to prove that, Sheamus was wrong to betray him and he's got to come back and prove it. But McIntyre's winning.
That is the logical thing.
Yeah.
Put on there if you're dragging it out, but
it's that storytelling mind of mine getting in the way again, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, if you say that to WWE, they go, "What's that?"
Let's start at the end, and then we'll go back to the beginning. And what are we doing again? That's WWE storytelling. So yeah, that's that for now. We may discuss that a little bit more later in the show. What was next on Raw?
So Raw's next contest saw Naomi take on one half of the women's tag team champions, Nia Jax, in a match that should probably have been a lot more competitive. Jax made easy work of Naomi and picked up herself victory.
Yeah, it really should have been more competitive.
Yeah, should have been more going on.
Like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, and maybe she was only an Intercontinental Champion as well. But Naomi's a former women's champion, right?
SmackDown Women's Championship because she glowed it up with all the neon.
Yeah. And I know that she's hanging out with Lana now. And say what you will about Lana, but surely she could have put up some kind of fight against Nia Jax. Are we really so obsessed with pushing Nia Jax? Something.
Yeah, why are we pushing Nia Jax when she just injures people?
Well, it wasn't her this time.
It was Shayna Baszler's turn this time.
Yeah, we'll get to that a bit later, but
yeah.
Again, from a storytelling point of view, okay, so neither Naomi or Lana can beat either of the women's tag team champions. So why do they get a women's tag team championship match at any point? They don't. You just
knows is the answer.
Killed another story before it's even got started.
This is WWE. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was enjoying, everything. Maybe the next segment can drag me back. Let's have a look.
Yes.
So after missing out on an opportunity to join the WWE Championship match last week, Braun Strowman came to the ring and expressed that things would have to change in WWE or he would go back to causing problems for everyone. Shane McMahon and Adam Pearce came to the ring, and Shane tried to talk down Strowman using supposed conflict resolution techniques. He went on to say that Strowman would have to learn to get on with WWE management, and what better way to do that than team with WWE management in a tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Championships. This set the stage for the Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, to defend their titles against Braun Strowman and Adam Pearce. Unsurprisingly, Strowman conducted the majority of the match single-handedly, but just as he seemed poised to win, Shane McMahon insisted that he tag in Pearce, and he was promptly rolled up and pinned. An angry Strowman vowed to Shane that he was going to wreck this place, and that it was on McMahon's hands. Come back to us, Dan.
What the
So, I did actually enjoy parts of this. Considering that Braun Strowman has won the tag team championships with a child, having to win them with, an actual adult that isn't a full-time wrestler is not so much of a stretch.
Yeah.
But and Always Be Champions just cut straight through it. Is the direction that this is going Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman at WrestleMania?
Probably.
I can't see any other direction that this is going to go in. He is going to go on a tear now. Next week he's probably going to turn over a limousine that Shane McMahon is in or something, and he's just going to start tormenting everyone in WWE until Shane McMahon says, "You know what?
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to take care of you at WrestleMania." And then Q, as Always Be Chatting says, Q Shane jumping off something massive onto Braun Strowman and beating him. Because why not? Everyone else beats Braun Strowman, even though he's the biggest guy in the company and just should be the perma world champ. Yeah. If you looked at this from a realistic point of view, Braun Strowman would be the world champion always. Nothing would change that.
He would be like like the Brock Lesnar champion.
Yeah,
Just
but more legit.
constant. Yeah.
Like, does nobody just look at Braun Strowman and go, "Yeah, okay, what are we even doing here?"
Yeah,
Like, this guy's huge. He can move. Like, crown him.
Yeah.
He can talk on the mic.
And this guy's been going to the gym recently quite a lot, and he is now hugely jacked.
Yeah, he got bigger. Like, he was already a huge, massive, gigantic, muscly guy, and then he got even bigger. Like, it shouldn't be possible.
How is that possible?
Yeah, this guy beat Goldberg the other day. He beat Goldberg at WrestleMania last year. So last April or March. End of March, beginning of April.
Yeah.
Since then, he lost the championship and then hasn't really won since. Caffeine Daydream, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The other day might have been a while ago. Yeah, it was. But within recent memory. I mean, that's the way memory works. If you watch WrestleMania and then not watch again to the Royal Rumble, it's like, oh yeah, the last thing I watched, he won. He was the champ. The champ's here. But no, he has hugely declined in the last year.
Yes, indeed.
And he's been beaten by pretty much everyone, which in a lot of cases really didn't make sense. Like, I'm okay with Lashley beating him last week. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, Bobby Lashley is himself a gigantic, jacked guy. I mean, he's not the tallest, but he's jacked. He can definitely hold his own with someone of the strength and size as Strowman.
He's a huge guy, yeah.
You love twatting your mic today, don't you?
I do. I don't know why.
Have you got it in a different place or something?
I don't think I do.
Yeah. So, and it makes sense for Lashley to beat him, to give Lashley more credibility. Fine. But other than that, no, just... So back on topic, him against Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, fine. And Shane will beat him, fine. Why not? Everything else has happened to the poor guy. Might as well. But it'll be a fun bit of Braun Strowman, like, running at full speed, chasing Shane McMahon to places. That'll be entertaining, at least.
Yeah.
Trying to grab Shane McMahon as he climbs on everything, throwing him off things. It'll be a good laugh. Maybe, and it was a matter of time before this came up again. Do you remember last year when we discussed what was going to happen at WrestleMania in Raymond James Stadium?
Oh, yes, the pirate ship.
The pirate ship. This match could be on the pirate ship, and Braun Strowman could be the one to fire Shane McMahon out of a cannon. I've nailed it. This is what's happening. Shane McMahon is getting fired out of a cannon by Braun Strowman. This is where that's going.
Oh my god.
Thanks for coming, guys. We've written the show. Nothing else can happen. Nothing, doesn't matter what else happens at WrestleMania.
Shane McMahon
is being launched out of a cannon. Game over. Who cares?
Yeah.
Champion? Yeah. We don't need one. Shane McMahon just got fired out of a cannon. End of story.
Oh god. Anyway,
it's going to be so disappointing when that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Anyway.
From one potential disappointment to an actual disappointment.
Let's move on to something that's happened. Backstage, Elias and Jackson Riker met Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Elias suggested that he and Bunny collab on a single, but Bunny declined. This led to a match between Elias and Damian Priest a little later in the night, which Priest continued to stack up wins since his main roster debut, defeating Elias with Hit the Lights.
One of the many problems I have with this is they've basically they've like gone Control-C on the thing with the Miz from a few weeks ago, and they've just Control-V'd it over the top of who is it? Elias and Jackson Riker. It's like, oh, we didn't get to pay that off with The Miz and John Morrison because we needed The Miz to cash in his Money in the Bank and be the champ. So we need some more people. Because it's the exact same formula. Yeah. Person goes to Bad Bunny, offers him a collaboration. Bad Bunny declines, faces him in the ring. It's exactly the same. So perhaps this will go somewhere else. Not sure where it's going to go. Bad Bunny against Elias at WrestleMania.
I was about to say something to do with WrestleMania.
But largely, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. Move on.
Good. There we go. I do care about this.
Oh, I do as well.
In a backstage interview, Randy Orton addressed what had been happening to him in the last few weeks, including vomiting black ooze last week on Raw. He warned that Alexa Bliss needed to be careful what she was doing or else she would end up like The Fiend. And that's, voted the worst thing ever by Wrestling Observer, apparently.
Yeah.
I'll try and fix my camera as before I continue. Stupid camera.
Having fun with your camera today.
Yeah, it keeps freezing. It's doing my head in. It's not just today. The very mention of Alexa's name brought forth Alexa on a television screen, and she was pictured sat in her pentagram, playing with a pentagram-decorated musical box. The scene then cut to a dark figure in a hood, which was quickly revealed to be Randy Orton. Randy Orton watched himself on the screen deliver a warning to himself that he would very soon come face to face, just like that, with everything that he had done in his past. Orton, the real one, not the one on the TV screen, then started to choke again, as he did last week, and he skulked away from the interview.
Yes.
Thoughts, opinions, comments?
I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
I mean, we get to see Alexa Bliss every week, which is a win in my book.
Of course.
But I also I
get to see my future wife.
I really like this really slow build. Because obviously we want this Randy Orton Fiend match at WrestleMania, and so you can't bring the Fiend back too quickly, otherwise it ruins it. They've had all of the build up to their match at TLC, so you don't want any more of that, really. Like, realistically, you want this constant tease of the Fiend is coming back, the Fiend is coming back, the Fiend is coming back. You want that to last all the way until not the Raw before WrestleMania, but the Raw before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And so this idea now of, in the next couple of weeks, Randy Orton's going to be sent on this journey through his own history, confronting himself.
It's going to be so cool.
It's just going to be fun to watch. And it's going to be awesome. There are things that you can do in the Thunderdome, not filmed in front of people, that you couldn't do otherwise. So let's make hay while the COVID is shining, and do what we can right now, and that's going to be Randy Orton wrestling himself, because that's something that you can pull off under these circumstances.
Love it. I think it'd be awesome.
Randy
Orton.
Yeah, Randy Orton from 2021 has a match with Randy Orton from 2004 for the World Heavyweight title or some nonsense. I don't know. Yeah. You could go absolutely crazy with it. And it's probably just going to be him he's probably going to be drugged or comatose in some way, and he's just going to have to watch himself doing nasty things, like kicking Mick Foley down the stairs, or being thrown through a window by Triple H after stalking Stephanie McMahon, and all the other crazy things that Randy Orton's done in his career. But it's going to be
back in the day.
It's going to be a trip through wrestling history through the medium of Randy Orton's crazy mind, and I'm quite up for it. It certainly will kill the time needed to stall the return of the Fiend, and then he will turn up. They will fight at WrestleMania in some kind of crazy nonsense, and it'll be great.
Yeah. I have to say, this is the main reason I watch Raw nowadays, just to see how this is progressing and to see Alexa Bliss. So yeah.
Can Randy Orton surprise himself with an RKO out of nowhere? You bet your ass he can. That's happening. Tune in at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, except it's going to be tune in next week on Raw. Randy Orton just RKO'd Randy Orton. What will happen next? Tune in next week on Raw. Will The Fiend come back? Probably not, but soon. We promise soon. It's not WrestleMania yet. Calm down. Next week on Raw.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
Hang on.
Like, Raw has been dull for quite a while. And I can say that objectively because the ratings have been going. So other people have agreed. They were already facing an uphill battle to keep the show engaging without a crowd there. And they weathered that for a while, and then they just kind of gave up. I don't know why, but they did. But throughout that, both on SmackDown, where he was at the time, and on Raw, The Fiend has been a consistent high point. And Randy Orton, for that matter, has been a fairly consistent high point. Even through what was far too long a feud with Edge last year, right at the beginning of, COVID silence from the crowd.
Yeah.
Randy Orton has been a major, what's the word I'm looking for? Highlight, for lack of a better term, of WWE in this whole pandemic period. So, major kudos. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to getting a full and true payoff to the Randy Orton Fiend feud at WrestleMania. Let's hope they don't cock it up. I'm excited to see where it goes and how we get there.
Yeah.
Screw you, Wrestling Observer. Screw you, Wrestling Observer.
Yeah.
Stop picking on the Fiend. Yeah, I got livid at that when I read that.
Yeah, I was like...
It's like, you haven't watched the product. You're just hating for no reason. You haven't watched the product. Like, this list screams of a guy that isn't watching the product and is just hating on WWE because it's WWE. And fair enough. Yeah. I get it. I get that it's very easy to hate on WWE, but shut your mouth and watch the product.
If you're gonna put a list together of best and worst in the wrestling world,
there is far worse in
damn
WWE.
Products.
Yeah, there is far worse in WWE to be hating on than the Fiend.
Yeah.
Anyway. Now, speaking of far worse to be hating on in WWE, let's move on to the next segment.
Yes. So, after putting the nonsense with her father away last week, Charlotte came to the ring to address the Raw Women's Championship picture at WrestleMania. She stated that she originally had no intention of getting involved, stay that way, in the title picture, but then she realised that Asuka currently has no opponent for WrestleMania. She noted that as soon as Asuka is back from injury, she will be challenging her to a WrestleMania match. Charlotte then went one-on-one with a person that injured Asuka by literally kicking her teeth out of her mouth, Shayna Baszler. Charlotte channeled her aggression into targeting the leg of Baszler, weakening her enough to hit natural selection and pick up her first win on the road to WrestleMania.
The teeth thing. It actually makes my mouth hurt watching that, and they did the slow motion replay this week on Raw and everything. I'm like,
yeah.
She literally had her front teeth kicked out by Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
She being Asuka.
Yeah.
She had teeth, and she didn't have teeth.
Yes. In a split second. Painful.
That's nasty, man. And, you can take the MMA out of the MMA. Hang on. You know what I'm trying to say.
You can take the person out of MMA, but you can't take the MMA out of the person.
There you go. Yeah, I was trying to fit wrestler in there somewhere, and it just got lost along the way. But yeah, that was hey, I'm just gonna kick this woman in the face. She's tough. She can handle it, and she is tough. But
she is tough.
Doesn't matter how tough you are. If you kick someone full out in the face, their teeth are coming out, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
it's one of the most horrific things that one of the most horrific kind of real life things that I've seen in WWE in a long time. It's not as bad as the Cesaro thing from a few years ago.
Yeah, up in his mouth,
where he like face planted the ring post and forced his teeth up into his like lip, but pretty close.
Cringe.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Nasty. So back to what we're talking about. When this promo that Charlotte did, I think was fairly close to the truth, because I don't think the original plan was for Charlotte to be in the title picture at WrestleMania.
No, I don't think it was.
But
why
the
does
person
she
probably was going to be facing at WrestleMania went and got pregnant, and now that can't happen, and they had to very quickly just cut short that whole thing that they'd been building for weeks and was actually looking like it was going to be good and going somewhere. Cheers, Lacey.
Yeah.
Couldn't have waited a couple of weeks. Thanks. And now this Asuka injury thing. I think she'll be there for WrestleMania, but it's not going to leave very much time to build a feud. But you can just, with no build-up whatsoever, you can say, okay, it's Charlotte and Asuka for the Raw Women's title. And you could literally have Asuka not be there for the rest of this time until WrestleMania. And you're like, okay, fine. Yeah, that's a match. Cool. It doesn't need any build.
No.
So, yeah. The only thing that I can dream from this, because of how good it was last year, is that a debuting Rhea Ripley at least makes it difficult for Charlotte to get to WrestleMania, and they have to compete with each other for the right to face Asuka at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I would like that, and I would rather see Rhea Ripley versus Asuka than Charlotte Flair versus Asuka.
Yeah.
And Charlotte Flair, probably because she's the golden child, winning.
Yeah.
Again,
yeah. I'm tired of Charlotte, you're tired of Charlotte.
Yeah.
But honestly, other than Rhea Ripley, who are the real alternatives? Who?
Lana.
Yes, Lana. Of course, Lana. But she's busy not making it any sense and getting a women's tag team title shot with Naomi. Yeah, that's the thing that's being fumbled over there. So so you eliminate those two as well. Who's left to get a title shot other than Charlotte and Rhea Ripley? There isn't anyone. Not anybody that you could set up a feud with a person that isn't going to be there for at least 3 weeks minimum, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Asuka wrestles with a gum shield for the rest of her life. Same as Cesaro now.
Oh well.
Because they're going to have to surgically implant new teeth.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And because of the job that she does, they're going to have to be braced. Same as Cesaro's still got braces because his teeth aren't rooted in his mouth anymore. They just basically.
Does he have braces? I thought he didn't have braces.
Yeah, he's got. I think he's just got a very thin retainer now, but he kept that brace for if it's gone now, he kept it for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I thought he had it taken off, his brace finally after
really
50 years.
Maybe he has then. He wears the gum shields, so. And when he talks,
he has the gum shield.
He does kind of talk with his lip over his teeth, so it's hard to tell what's there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't open his mouth much. Does the Swiss man?
No.
But yeah, watch this space. What's going to happen with Charlotte, and hopefully Rhea Ripley gets involved in some way. But of all of the Charlotte getting another title shot scenarios, at least this is the most palatable of them because there's nobody else available. Yeah. She's not taking the opportunity from anyone at this stage. There's no one there.
That's true.
which is
That is true.
better than not having a match at all, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
We shall see as time goes on. Next, then, in what could be the longest main roster at least in recent memory.
Yeah.
Similar to the long, drawn-out, continued breakdown of Retribution, which continued on Raw after the team of Mace, Slapnuts, and T-Ball were defeated by Riddle and the Lucha House Party. Despite the aggressive riling up before the match by Mustafa Ali. Mustafa. After yet another embarrassing defeat, Ali challenged Riddle to an immediate match to show Retribution what they really stand for. After distractions from Slapnuts and Wrecker Yim, Mustafa Ali hit a horrible looking move, a truly horrible, should never happen again looking move, to pick up a win over the United States champion. So let's discuss that move first. What was he trying to do? What was that?
I have not got a clue.
Other than almost breaking Riddle's neck and face at the same time?
Trying to decapitate Riddle.
Yeah. I mean, looking at what it was, I think he was trying to do like a reverse Meteora. So the Meteora being...
Yeah, something like that.
Like knees... So basically crotch in face, knees over the shoulder, and then drive you to the ground. But that's from just a standing level. I think what he was trying to do was do that facing the other way. So basically it would be feet there, knees down here, and then lower down, but from the top rope. I think that's what he was trying, but it was so terribly mistimed and generally a terrible idea to even try that in general. What actually happened was Riddle fell off the top rope, and Mustafa Ali nearly landed knees first on Riddle's face.
Yes.
And they're very, very lucky that didn't end a lot worse than it was.
Yes.
Stern words.
At Riddle's face.
Yeah. Stern words to Mustafa Ali. Never do that again.
Don't do that again.
That was the worst idea you've had. And, you're still the leader of Retribution. So that's saying something.
If you want to do that sort of thing, go away, practice it 10 billion times until you've got it into perfection.
Yeah.
Then you can do it.
Yeah. This was two over-ambitious guys saying, let's try something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never again. On to the actual
naughty
business of Retribution and where this is going.
Yeah.
Are they going to break this team up?
It looks like it's getting that way, where either that or Retribution stay as a unit and they just kick Mustafa out. Because he's just annoying everyone.
Maybe. And have they already forgotten that he's supposed to be feuding with Kofi Kingston?
Apparently.
Great. Yeah. In Brighton news, Riddle looks good with the US title, even though I don't like the US title.
Yeah.
But it suits him to be the main mid-card champion of the brand. I like it. I'd like to see that.
Something I've noticed about the United States belt is that the side plates are different to the ones that it debuted with.
Oh, what? The whole thing, or just the bit that you can change?
So just the bit you can change. So the one you see on my wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. The plates that you can change are literally just gold and silver.
Right.
The WWE logo is gold, there's silver around the edge, and then around that is gold. The ones that are on the belt that Riddle's holding at the moment is more like the ones that are on United Kingdom Championship.
Are they not just exactly that? Have they not just taken those plates and put them on there?
Yeah, it looks like they've taken these and put them on there.
Yeah. And
so
I don't know why you would do that, other than you've lost the original side plates for the other one. But Riddle will have his own at some point. It just
Oh yeah.
That was obviously a decision that came around pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know that maybe Keith Lee was supposed to win the US title rather than
Yeah.
Riddle, but then he couldn't. Maybe they've got some Keith Lee plates ready to go.
Hidden away somewhere.
But yeah, he'll get plates eventually. But it is interesting that they've mixed it up a bit. And
unless it's because people moaned that the side plates on that didn't have any colour compared to the centre plate, so they thought, let's put one of those on because that's got colour on and we'll put it on there.
It's the least of the problems with that United States Championship belt, to be fair. Colour is not the issue. It's two massive saggy testicles in the middle of it, that's the problem.
Yeah, alright.
So let's get Riddle in a good feud for the US title. Take that into WrestleMania. Even if that is against Mustafa Ali. Fine. Or do that at Fastlane, because we want to see Mustafa Ali against Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania. Maybe that's where they've gone, oh, this is way too early to be doing this feud. We'll pay it off too soon.
Yeah.
Let's stall for a bit. Those are the things we can do.
Yeah.
Now, again, the main event was what we'd been waiting for the entire show. Let's get to it.
Yes. So, after a countdown to the top of Raw's second hour, Miz was scheduled to defend the WWE Championship against Lashley, but the champ begged off with stomach issues. At the top of the final hour, The Miz begged MVP to put the match off until WrestleMania, stating that Lashley deserved a bigger stage for his first potential WWE Championship victory. MVP declined, and the match began immediately after the bell rang. The Miz ran from the ring and was counted out. However, the title cannot change hands on a count-out, and The Miz retained. Backstage, Shane McMahon announced that another match would take place, and should The Miz avoid it another time, he would be stripped of the WWE title and it would be awarded to Lashley. Third time's a charm, though, as Miz defended his championship against Bobby Lashley in a lumberjack match. As the bell was rung, Miz tried to get himself disqualified by hitting Lashley with the title belt, but Bobby blocked it. Good old Bobby. Miz tried to escape on multiple occasions, but the Lumberjacks did their jobs and returned him to the ring. With the Miz left no room to escape anymore, he was locked in the Hurt Lock and tapped out, crowning Bobby Lashley as the new WWE Champion. Yes.
The Miz, truly a transitional champion.
Very much so.
So I suppose the big question here that is being screamed from the side is, what next? Now that Bobby Lashley is the WWE Champion, where is this going?
Yeah. Yes. And to be honest, I was a bit surprised that he is champion.
I am and I'm not. And just because it gets my brain whirring as to what direction they are trying to take things. And I think something has happened, and it happened a couple of weeks ago, that made them set several things in motion and go, right, this now needs to happen and we need to get moving on our WrestleMania payoff. And what I think has happened is they have spoken to somebody, that somebody has agreed to come back, and now they need to set in motion a match with that somebody at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I think we are heading towards Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania.
Now that would be a match.
Because that's been teased for a long time. That is, I think that's the only match that people want to see out of Brock Lesnar now. I don't think they want to see anybody else with Brock Lesnar. That's all been done. Nobody wants to see Brock Lesnar with another title reign. So it has to be somebody credible that could take on and defeat Brock Lesnar realistically.
Yeah.
Could that not have been done versus Drew McIntyre? Well, it could, but I guess they don't want to. They don't really want to weaken Drew McIntyre by just having Lashley beat McIntyre clean. And the other part of that is Lashley feuded with McIntyre right at the beginning of his title reign last year, and McIntyre beat Lashley for the title 2 or 3 times. Lashley just couldn't beat him. So either, the story is it's going to Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, or they are just rekindling that feud, and now McIntyre's got to go after
rehashing it,
Bobby Lashley, and that'll be the WrestleMania match. But I get what you're saying. Always be chatting. Why does the belt need to go to Miz as a transition between Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley? Being that Drew McIntyre's a face, Bobby Lashley's a heel. It could have just happened. And I guess the answer is to keep McIntyre looking strong. It makes McIntyre more credible a character to have him go all the way through the Elimination Chamber, then be beaten down by Bobby Lashley, and then be opportuned on, if that's a word, by The Miz, than for the only other scenario being Lashley's in the chamber and at some point somebody beats McIntyre, which doesn't help McIntyre, or they have a one-on-one match this week on Raw and it's McIntyre against Lashley, and then Lashley has to just beat Drew McIntyre. It kind of separates that loss a bit more to keep Drew McIntyre on this strong kind of Scottish psychopath tear that he's been on. I guess is the answer. I feel like it devalues the whole point of Money in the Bank. It does, but Money in the Bank has kind of done that to itself. It's happened too long, to be fair. The point of the Money in the Bank now is a little bit, I can win the championship where I would ordinarily not be able to beat the person one-on-one. That was definitely the case with The Miz, and that was the case for a lot of the people that cashed in. Question from the chat. A random string of letters, 83YY, asks, who is your favourite wrestler? Just take that first, Dan?
Favorite female wrestler, everyone knows. Alexa Bliss. Favorite wrestler at the moment, I've got to say The Fiend. I love The Fiend. Everyone knows I love The Fiend.
Yeah,
and I've also got to say,
I'm going to agree with you straight up there, so that not to dispense with any time. Favorite current Fiend. Yeah.
At the moment, also Roman Reigns is impressing me a lot.
I agree with you there. As far as the current kind of rosters are concerned, it's The Fiend and Roman Reigns, which is weird for me to say.
Weird for Roman Reigns bit.
What about all time?
All time, as you know, I'm a big Jeff Hardy fan. As you can tell.
Someone's got to be.
I know, exactly. So
might as well be you.
I think Jeff Hardy. Go for Jeff Hardy. What about you, sir?
It's more difficult for me because my favourites really do kind of transition or ruin it for themselves. I was a big Jericho fan. But Jericho's really I've really soured on Jericho after a lot of the nonsense that guy was spouting last year and the stupid things that he was suggesting. So Jericho the wrestler, great, thanks, I'll take that. But Stone Cold, obviously. Stone Cold is one of my favourites. CM Punk, but don't like. I haven't liked CM Punk since the moment he left WWE. And my when I first got into wrestling, do you want to guess who my favourite wrestler was for a very long time?
Did you get into wrestling? Remind me.
So, mid Attitude Era, kind of 99.
Did ask you there. No, really, The Rock.
No, not The Rock. No. Yeah, not a conventional favourite, as you'd expect from me.
Not a conventional one.
I mean, I liked Stone Cold, but he wasn't my favourite.
Can't think of him now.
Like, bearing in mind that this was while I was a teenager.
Can't think of him now at the moment.
Well,
who is it?
I'll put you out your misery then. My favourite wrestler, right at the beginning of my wrestling watching while I was a teenager, was Kane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really loved Kane. Like, I just liked everything about him. The pyro, the mask, the fact he was giant.
Yeah.
Like, it was great.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, Always Be Chatting, Al Snow was not my favourite wrestler. But...
Oh, Al Snow.
Al Snow is my favourite WWE European champion of all time.
Ooh.
And unless you have seen Al Snow's European Championship reign, then you won't know why. And I won't spoil it, because one day you'll see a bit of it and you'll be like, oh yeah, I know why he said that now. Yeah. That was my best Dan impression, by the way. Did you like that?
Yeah, great.
I know why, says Rooster. There you go. It's our little secret, Rooster Beast. I'm sure you can just Google it. Al Snow, European Champion, YouTube. It'll all be there. But yeah, that was fun.
I will be doing that.
a close second to William Regal as my favourite European champion. But that wasn't the question. And we've digressed, generally chatted nonsense.
Transgressed everything. Yes.
As we tend to do. And that was the end of Raw. New WWE champion. We'll see how that progresses and whether it goes in a Lesnar direction or back in a McIntyre, McIntyre direction. Yeah, McIntyre. Time will tell. But
yes.
As I said, overall, pretty good week of wrestling. The fact that we've spoken about it for an hour and 3/4 rather than kind of really scraping for 45 minutes of content.
Scraping the barrel.
Really tells us that some things happened and that they were entertaining.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're on the road to WrestleMania or something.
Yeah.
Almost. Let's not get too excited yet.
Yeah.
But something that you can get excited about is the other content coming up on the Primetime Streamer Network. Here it is. Later on today, sad to say, I believe that Mama S will be cancelling her 6:30 stream. She's not feeling very well, but watch this space. Hasn't been fully confirmed. We shall see. In absence of that, as long as he can get his tech working, it's the Tuesday night kill stream with Always Be Chatting, and he is beginning a genocide run on Undertale. And it's going to be a bad time for him, and we're going to enjoy every second of it while gambling and generally mocking him. So tune in for that. It's going to be fantastic. On the other channel, as it were, it's Tuesday Night Trucking with Research 1. It's listed as a 9 p.m. start, but if Mama S does not stream, I expect Reese will step in and stream early. So you make your choice. Yeah. It's Always Be Chatting or Research 1 tonight. Make your decision wisely. Tomorrow at 6:30 p.m, Research 1 is playing Control. He's been playing that for a few weeks now. He's progressing quite nicely. Simultaneously, it's Little Cute Girl 86's Kitchen. She's making bourbon biscuits. That's at 7 GMT, 2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. And then I'm back at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow for Way Back Wednesday. I'm playing Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo for the first time ever.
Ooh.
First time.
Oh, you'll like that.
Yeah, I was a Sega guy growing up. I never played any of the Marios. I only ever played, I think it was Mario 3 at a friend's house. Never played any of the others. So I've literally no idea what I'm walking into, and that's got to be quite exciting for a Mario fan. Like, to be able to see somebody experience Mario for the first time. Like, I'd want to see that if it was something I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, 8:30 p.m. GMT, 3:30 p.m. Eastern in the States. And then the day will close out with a bit of drum bashing from Rooster Beast, my secret Al Snow buddy, at 1 a.m. GMT, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, it's right there in front of you. I'm not going to go through it, but many exciting things. And then we'll be back with further details about the rest of the week going forward. Lots happening.
Jubbly.
Lots happening across the network. Many, many exciting things. That's us for this week. We're closing in on 2 hours, so let's stop before we get there and officially make this the longest show ever. Next week, Raw and SmackDown again. It better be as good. That's all I can say.
Hope so.
We've got lots of things to continue and pay off on the road to WrestleMania. And we'll see some more Alexa Bliss, at the very least.
Yeah!
Stick around for a raid of Ms. Ice Lady, who is a wonderful American lady who plays word games. Today she's playing code names. I'll take you over to her. I've been Jez.
I've been Dan.
And you have been watching the main roster. And we thank you very much for doing so. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Waves.